Well, hello everyone. It's me. We're back, boys. Now, you think I'd give like a giant cool intro to this, but not really. I mean, when I left it, it was more important considering I was legit abandoning content that got me 45 subscribers. But, it is very good to be back. So let's start off with, who the Trickster is. The Trickster's real name is Ji-Woon Hak, or as I like to call him, Ji-Woon Hackerman, considering that that's what we all thought he would be, when he was eventually about to come out. Nope, not at all. We got a K-pop star. His perks are Starstruck, which basically exposes anyone that was in your tear radius when you pick someone up for 26, 28, and 30 seconds. Hex Crowd Control blocks off windows when they vault through it, so basically it's like Bamboozle but better. And then No Way Out, when the last gender is repaired, the entity blocks both exit gate switches for 10, 12, and I think 16 seconds? I can't remember. Plus an additional 4 seconds for each token in your possession. So let's talk about this. This perk, high B tier. I can see it being incorporated into a bunch of builds, and it's fucking godly on Nurse, but it isn't the best. Hex Crowd Control is an A tier perk. This is definitely really good, especially for the Shack, but it is a Hex perk, so it can't go up any higher. No Way Out is F tier. This perk is horrible. This is legit saying, hey, the entity blocks both these exit gate switches, but most of the time, they're not that close. So, how would I make these perks better? Starstruck, I would make it to where any person in your tear radius gains every single status effect, because I feel like that'd be a little fun. Hex Crowd Control, I'd like to keep it the same. No Way Out, make it to where it's when they come near the exit gate. That way you'll be able to get both information and you'll be able to block off the exit gates from like, say maybe like a 99%, or tying into that, you could use a token and block off the exit gate in case someone tries to 99%. So something like that. That'd be actually really good, and it'd actually make this shit not so bad. So, I will hop into a game, and I will do some commentary on this guy, because I have a lot to say. Okay, so let's start off with, I think, the elephant in the room. The Trickster is a extremely underpowered killer. And I am not mad that he's underpowered. I'm mad that they did something that they did last chapter as well. So let's talk about that. Ignored all feedback from the PTB. I'm 13, okay? I'm 13 and I play this game. And even I have more basic knowledge of, hey, maybe we should listen to the people that are saying, this killer is actually extremely weak. Now, I don't agree with the people that are saying he's the worst killer in the game. In my opinion, he's a low C tier. I don't think he's D tier, to be honest. But he is still extremely weak. And it feels so weird because they had 4 weeks. 4 weeks for PTB. I think it's 3 or 4 weeks for PT. No, 4 weeks because they delayed it one. And in that time of delaying, they made extremely underwhelming changes. There were a few that kind of were weird, but I think a lot of them were really bad. Let's start off with his main power and what he is. So, the first thing we need to comment on is his 110% movement speed. This, combined with how slow he has to be able to down people, that's not right. That should not exist in any form of this video game. And it's so bizarre to me, because I feel like they would know this. This killer is definitely not ready to be in 110. Don't mind my bad aim there. But this killer shouldn't be in 110 with how slow he is to down people. It's like Blight, you may think. Because he can run extremely fast, he's 115. But the thing is, he requires almost unimaginable terms of skill. And I agree that they should keep him at 115 because of that. His power requires amazing skill. Trickster's doesn't. I'm sorry. It doesn't. Throwing knives is not that big of a challenge. And I do agree on the sentiment that, you know, we shouldn't, like, be over-obsessing over this too much. But this should not be allowed to happen in any form of this game. Like, that should not exist. It should not be a world where that is allowed. He should not be 110. He should be 115 easily. Next thing, his recoil. When you throw knives, like you can see here, yes, that is kind of inhumane. No human alive can do that. However, people also need to take into account that this is hand movement we're talking about. If you were to be realistic with this, he wouldn't be having recoil when throwing knives. And with how skilled he was in his lore, he shouldn't have throwing knives. With a gun, there is a reason there is recoil. It's because of the mag and the amount of power it takes to fire a bullet. However, with hands, you have the same power on each. At least I hope you do. If you're one of those people that freaking, like, only weightless with one hand, you're insane. But it feels so awkward considering that, you know, a person throwing stuff should not have... Holy crap, how'd I hit that? A person throwing a knife should not have recoil. That's not how stuff works. That's like saying if I were weightlifting, I should be dropping it down increasingly every time until I get extremely strong. And that just doesn't make sense. Now, what I meant by that was, like, every time I pull up, I drop it down again, pull it to the side, stuff like that. Moving on to the next thing. This killer's ranged prowess is not good enough. 60 knives is amazing, but you could blow through 30 because of everything that's affecting him. And on top of that, why the hell is he as slow as a nurse when he's aiming, not throwing, when he's aiming to throw? And frickin' when he's actually throwing, he's as slow as a, like, if you have your joystick and you move it super slightly. Why is he that slow? Now, I think that this is really weird, considering that, like, come on. No one does that. No one gets slower. And I understand it's for balance reasons. Because realism could actually kind of like... Ooh, that was actually really nice. Because too much realism in this game can make like 7 killers broken. But also... Like, you have to also understand... For someone to, like... You know, actually be like... You know... a good killer, they also can't be slowed by everything. So, it's really awkward, to say the least. And I do think that the devs may fix him in the future. But Almo, being the dipshit that he is, said that they probably won't fix him until 2 months in. Which means we have to wait for mid-chapter to get any balancing. Hell. And that's not good. Because, this killer ain't strong. I main him, but he ain't strong. Which is extremely sad. But it is, not okay. You thought I was going to say okay? No, it's not okay. It's not okay at all. Moving on to my final point. I definitely must say that this isn't about the Trickster himself. This is more or less now, like, really, like, how I feel about the PTB. Because I kind of briefly went over it, but I want to actually go into detail. Devs, you'll never see this video. I have 45 subscribers, and I barely make it above 3 viewers per video. But if y'all are actually seeing this, what in God's name were you doing not listening to the PTB? It took almost countless days, 4 weeks worth, in fact, for you to fix this damn killer. Look at this. I want y'all to watch this right now, and I want y'all to tell me, what can I do in this situation? Look at that. That main event is the crappiest secondary power. Hell, his what you're supposed to call his slow power, as they call it, is so bad. His freaking whatever you call it. Oh yeah, his what I like to call his Myers power is not even good. It's poor at best. That's not good. This is not as bad as old Freddy, but this is really not good. And I'm extremely weirded out that they had a whole fucking 4 weeks to do this. 4 fucking weeks! And they still didn't do jack shit to fix it. You can tell I'm pissed off right now, because I'm passionate about this game and what it has to offer. It's so pathetic and stupid that we had to do this shit on countless hours, countless times, all for the devs to legit ruin it all for the purpose of more fucking money. I'm gonna calm down now. Oh, but it's just so bad. It honestly really angers me that we have to actually deal with this. And I understand that dev work is not an easy job, but it's also one that you should do with a passion. And it really feels like they just kind of half-assed it on the killer side. Now, let's talk about the positives of this killer. Okay, on terms of fun, this killer is an S tier in fun. I love the fact that you could throw about 1,000,000 knives in the span of, what, 7 seconds? 8? 10? 12? It's so fun to do that. And hitting good shots, like with any ranged killer, just... it just gives you a wild, makes you coom. It's just so good. And I honestly think that, it's really fun to play a killer like that eventually, every time. Because Twins, that was just both a bad update and just a very, very boring killer. I liked them, because, they were fun, but they weren't. The chapter itself wasn't good. They're a good killer, but they're boring as hell. This killer, however, he's weak, but he's fun. And I feel like I'd rather take a weak and fun killer over a strong and boring. That's me looking wide-eyed at Spirit. And I understand that this game really tries to bounce on fun, and I feel like that's what they're trying to get at right now. But still, it's just so bizarre how something like that can just go ahead with no incentive. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about this chapter. This chapter is so poggers. Legit super pog. Like, this is such a good chapter. Like, I would honestly have babies with it and have its cupcakes. That's a Gumball reference if you didn't watch the show that much. That's a Gumball reference. But, it feels odd to me that, like, they could create such a weak killer but make the chapter so good. If y'all didn't see the trailer, I highly recommend you see it. That might be one of the best trailers ever made, and it made me want a Dead by Daylight anime. That's just, it's just so cool. I love it to bits. But, in terms of aesthetic, S tier chapter. Also, the Survivor is so poggers. So poggers. That Survivor is extremely fun. Like, I honestly could give the Survivor a hug. Like, a big hug for being so poggers. Like, this Survivor, I mean, they do have a perk that's Soul Survivor, but crappier, and I don't know how you can pull that off. Everything else, though, is really cool, and I really like her aesthetic. It's really nice. Aesthetically, S tier chapter. Survivor-wise, A tier chapter. I do feel like a few things could be fixed with Youngjin, but she's still a poggers. Killer, C tier chapter in terms of killer. He's not very good until they buff him, then he's just gonna stay there forever, maybe even in the D tier. And, yeah. One thing before I, leave y'all. I really, really appreciate the, support. Even if it's 2 subscribers extra, if that's legit it. That's really good. And I honestly appreciate that. So, I won't get too slobbery over you. You can see my horrible aim with Trickster. But, you know, it's always nice to know that there are things in this world that are really, really, really good to have. And who knows, maybe one day AAA batteries will, one day be a household name among children across the valley. I kind of gave up there at the end because I really didn't care. I honestly couldn't care less. I kind of just wanted to, like, toy around with Bill here. You can see that to be good with this killer, you both need to know, like, you both need to have gen pressure perks, and you also need to, like, know how the knives work and where to throw them. See, like that. Also, I love the way they fall. That's another good part of this. I apologize for that. My grandma called. And I gotta answer that. It's a moral thing to do. But, yeah. Those are my first impressions on All Kill. There are many things that can be fixed, but I do believe that with enough effort, they can definitely do it. My name is AAA Batteries, and I thank y'all so much for watching. Feels good to be back. And, don't expect me leaving that much anytime soon, because, the Trickster main's rising. Stay safe, everybody.